So, welcome to the world of the 6.5, whether we're talking a 260 Remington, Creedmoor, 47 Lapua, Terminator. There's a handful of them out there, the Grendel. Inherently, the 6.5 bullet itself is accurate. It's like a 243. They're just inherently accurate. We are going to go with a 6.5 for sure. I know a lot of people out there have left comments about, do the 7mm08 or 308, and I'm not knocking those. I'm really not. But there are some things that pushed us to the 6.5 world. And one of them is they are inherently accurate, and they're also not finicky. At least that's been my experience with everything I've loaded and shot. They're just not finicky at all. Here's the ones that made the list. The 260 Remington, the 260 Ackley, the 260 Terminator, the 6.5 by 47 Lapua, and the 6.5 Creedmoor. So we had 5 on the list. So what I did is, well, the first thing I did is a whole lot of research. I also did a whole lot of ballistic comparisons. And I also did a lot of research on what's the availability of different bullets, different cases, different brands of cases, small rifle primer, large rifle primer, all that stuff. And also, what powders? I don't want to have to go start out on a whole new powder adventure trying to find stuff that's like fairy dust. Yeah, I know, H4350 was fairy dust for a long time, but now I have lots of it. This is just one. On top of that, we looked at what brands of dyes are available and that aren't going to break the bank. Now, most of you know I'm a huge fan of Lee dyes. I'm also a big fan of the Redding shoulder bump die. And I've got RCPS and Hornady, and I've got a lot of different brands, but the Lee Collet die, that's one of my favorite. Not to get off topic, but it is important when you're looking at stuff to make sure that the dyes that you need are available in whatever brand you want. Now, when it comes to ballistics, you can kind of break this down, compare them. I'll throw some charts up here as I'm talking. When you start looking at the 260 Ackley or the 260 versus the 6.5 by 47 Lapua versus the Creedmoor, even versus a 308 or a 7mm08, they're all very, very close. There's not a huge difference, especially when we're talking about shooting that 140 to 150 grain, kind of in that neighborhood. They're very, very close. In the 6.5 world, there's a lot of options, a lot of really good options, whether you're going to shoot Burgers or Sierras. Sierras happen to be my favorite out of the 6.5, just because I've had probably the best groupings out of those with the best low standard deviation and extreme spreads. But they also have a lot of bullets out there that just perform very well too when it comes to hunting and not just target shooting. So that's another factor in this, is what is the purpose of the rifle that we're building? And the purpose is to be a tool that is going to be well versed amongst all platforms, whether we're going to shoot a match or whether we're going to take this out and hunt or just bang steel across a canyon or punch paper just for fun and practice. So last but not least, what can you just go to the store and just buy off the shelf, right? So the 6x47 Lapua or 6.5x47 Lapua, you can't just, I've never seen it on a shelf. Now you can order it, but I've been to the store 100 times, I've never seen it on the shelf, and I've looked for it. The 260 Remington, available all day long. I see it all the time. The 6.5 Creedmoor, it's on the shelf everywhere I go. 260 Terminator, nope, your Fireforeman cases. 260 Ackley, your Fireforeman cases on that too. Clearly I'm not opposed to Fireforeman cases. I've got the 243 Ackley, and that thing is a tack driving, match burning machine. That thing is, I'm very pleased with it. Part of this decision also has to equate into what Cody's able to do right now. And since this is a father-son rifle build, he's also going to be reloading all of his own ammunition. It's not to say you can't Fireform cases, I just don't think it's practical yet. When you kind of weigh everything out, I know some of you will hang me for this, but we're going to go with the Creedmoor. I know a lot of people kind of poo-poo the Creedmoor. It's the Creedmoor bandwagon. Well, there's a reason for it. The Creedmoor is a very good performing cartridge, and it's cheap to reload, The recoil is very manageable. Off-the-shelf ammunition is not that expensive. All the components, whether you want to shoot a large rifle primer or a small rifle primer, those cases are available for both. And good quality cases like Starline. I love Starline brass. That stuff has proved to be very well built. The tolerances are great, and it's just worked very well for me. One nice thing about the Creedmoor is because the 30-degree shoulder, you're not getting a lot of case stretch. That's not necessarily true with the 260 Remington. You get a little bit more case stretch out of the 260 Remington than you do the Creedmoor. That's also true with the 260 Ackley and the Terminator. They have such a hard shoulder on those don't stretch much either. But then that brings us back into fire-forming brass. Another thing we had to weigh in was if I was going to do a 6.5x47 Lapua, I'd either have to rent the reamers or I'd have to purchase them. Same with the Ackley, the Terminator, all kinds of stuff. But I already have a 6.5 Creedmoor reamer, so why not ream a couple more chambers? So when you sort of compare all this stuff, the ballistic data, the case and bullet options and primer options and powder options and all this stuff, and you sort of put it together and you look at all your pros and cons, which there's not really a lot of cons in either case. They're all excellent cartridges, every one of them, and I'm not knocking any of them. But when you weigh it out, the Creedmoor seems to stand out just a little bit more. I'm not saying I've never forgot my ammunition at home, but I have. And when you're out of town hunting, it's really nice just to be able to run to the store. Walmart carries the stuff, and just grab a box. You might have to adjust your scope just a little bit, but at least you got some ammo. If I was shooting the 6.5x47 Lapua, well, I'm out of luck. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with more videos on the barrels and the grips and all the stuff that we're putting together for these rifles, and then, of course, we still got to build them. So, thanks for watching.